Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the channel. My name is Jonah Sartori, and if you're anything like me, then your taste in fashion probably far exceeds the amount of money you are willing or able to spend on it. If that is the case, have no fear. You're exactly where you need to be, because today I'm going to learn how to make these $1,000 designer sunglasses for $50. And if you're watching this video, then you're going to learn too. Listen, I am not the most organized guy, but I have found that these projects go a lot smoother and are a lot less stressful if you have a plan of action, or at the very least, a rough outline of one. In my case, the first step of that plan is going to be finding a base pair of sunglasses to do the modification on. And unless you are going to make the lenses and the frames from scratch, then that's going to be your first step too. After just a bit of searching, I found that Oakley does offer a pair of sunglasses called the Radars, which are almost identical to the Oakley X Vetements collab that we're mocking, minus the spikes, of course. The only issue with these glasses is they cost nearly $300 new, and the whole point of this project is to save money. This sadly meant that the official Oakley website has nothing to offer me outside of this cool virtual try-on tool that shows me how amazing I'm going to look at the end of this video. At this point, I started looking on eBay for a used pair of radars, but quickly realized that A, most of these are probably fake, or more affectionately, Folkleys, and B, they're still too expensive. I really didn't want to spend $100 for a fake pair of sunglasses. I decided to try my luck one more time over at Depop, and in my case, the third time was the charm, because there were all sorts of cheap listings for radars that had very good reviews. Now, these were also obviously fake, but for $30 to $50, I was okay with that. I ended up buying two pairs just in case I, spoiler alert, ended up messing one of them up. Fast forward a week and the Folkleys arrive at my front door. At this point, I'm feeling very excited, but while unboxing them, that excitement quickly turned to disappointment because I realized just how poor the quality was on these. This was frustrating because the Depop reviews really emphasized how good the quality was, and I felt like I had received a product that was the exact opposite of this. In spite of that, I still feel like I can't really complain because they were only $35 per pair, and to their credit, they do look like the Radars, which is all I really needed to complete step one. Moving on to step two, we're going to be looking for the hardware that we're attaching to the glasses. You know, the big pointy spikes we're putting right next to our eyeballs. This step actually proved to be a little bit more difficult than step one. In step one, I was able to find the exact pair of glasses I needed, but finding a 1-to-1 ratio of the different spike lengths I need proved to be slightly more difficult. I don't like to make purchasing from Amazon a habit. However, I can't say I don't do it from time to time. And in this case, I really thought it was going to be the best place to find the spikes I needed in the varying lengths that I needed. However, when scrolling on Amazon, I quickly ran into two big issues. One, they only sold these spikes in packs of 1, 2, maybe even 300, and I only needed a couple of different spikes for each length that I needed. This would have been okay if I could have found a pack that contained all of the different lengths I needed. However, all of their variety packs had spikes that were in all sorts of crazy shapes and sizes. The second issue I ran into was even if I had wanted 100 of each spike length, I couldn't even find those lengths in a typical cone shape. I could have let good enough been good enough and bought something from Amazon, but the devil really is in the details. And the closer we can get these spikes to the product picture, the closer our overall finished product is going to look to our source material. I didn't know where to look next, so I ended up consulting with my buddy Google, who pointed me to his friend Reddit, who sent me to a site called Studs and Spikes. This site ended up being exactly what I needed to finish up step two. My favorite thing about Studs and Spikes compared to Amazon was how easy searching for the spike that I was looking for was. I was able to search by spike shape and then further refine that search by color. Now, if we look at the Oakley X Vetements collab, we can see that there are only 4 different lengths of spikes that we need. I ended up purchasing 6 different lengths so I could play around with them in person and actually eyeball what would look best. But The description of this video will include the final size and quantity of each spike I used in case you're following along. While I was browsing the website, I did notice that the screw piece that would secure the spikes to the glasses had a slanted top. This is actually a mark of quality compared to the spikes on Amazon, but I was worried that for my case, it would cause the screws to stick too far out towards my cheekbones. So I messaged the Studs and Spikes Instagram account, and they were super helpful and told me that I could go to a local hardware store and get the type of screw that I was looking for. So I hopped in my car and headed over to Ace. Ace is awesome because they have all kinds of different hardware, and their employees are also super helpful. And a man named Bob helped me find exactly what I was looking for. Now, for full disclosure, I didn't actually use the screws that I got from Ace. The ones that came from Studs and Spikes ended up working fine, and I didn't need to substitute them. But the trip to Ace was not a complete waste because I met a very cute employee who seemed to like me. And I saw an Oakley's display case that had the real deal radars in them. So I had Bob open it up and I was able to hold them and try them on. And let me tell you, the quality was 100 times better on the real thing than it was on our replica. I felt like this was a sign from the universe telling me to just go with the real thing. But then I realized I don't have the money for that. And the universe doesn't know anything anyway. While I was checking out, I saw one more very cute Ace employee and then hopped in my car and headed home. If you're as smart as you look, then you can probably guess that step 3 is finding a way to attach the spikes to the glasses. You could just willy-nilly start drilling holes into the lenses, but again, a little bit of additional planning goes a really long way in making the overall project look refined and professional. I started by taking some temporary fabric adhesive I had laying around to temporarily attach the spikes on the lenses and position them to my liking. I wasn't sure how this was going to work since the spray was meant for fabric, but it did end up exceeding my expectations. Once I had the spikes nice and symmetrical and exactly where I wanted them, I flipped the glasses over, took a dry erase marker, and marked a dot in the very center of the back of each spike. I then flipped the glasses back over, took the spikes off, and then laid a piece of tape across the lenses. The tape is to help your drill hole start. It will keep your drill from jumping around, and it will also keep from scratching the lenses if it does jump. I will note that I used a black dry erase marker and black lenses, and it was very hard to see that dry erase mark through the tape and then through the lenses. So if you have a colorful dry erase marker, I suggest going with that. Moving on to the drilling, I used a Dremel for this because I just purchased one for a previous project, but an actual power drill will work probably even better, so whatever you have on hand. Finally, I would really like to stress wearing a mask for the drilling. It kicks up a ton of small plastic particles into the air, and we ingest enough of those in the groceries that we buy. Fast forward through an hour of spraying, marking, taping, and drilling, and you're left with a pretty good finished product. I'm very pleased with how these turned out, and if you're interested in making a pair, I highly recommend it. Hopefully this video will make the project a little bit more streamlined for you than it was for me. Overall, I'd give the difficulty maybe a 6 out of 10. The only kind of hard part was drilling the holes, working a power tool, and making sure that the spacing of the spikes was symmetrical between the two lenses. Let me know what you'd like to see me make next in the comments below, and until next time, peace.